how you get into the habit of writing, one way is to see academics as human beings, as writing from certain contexts. And once you're able to do that, then it becomes easier to deal with what they're saying. And then also what that does is that it makes you aware when you're not understanding. Another way to get interested is what I was telling you. See if anybody has talked about what, like how many, are there any lectures on YouTube, any introduction, and especially the old European thinkers. And I wish we could do this for our own thinkers. You will find the old European thinkers have their videos on YouTube about their biography. So you look for their biography, because usually people will say they wrote this when this was the thinking of the time. That can help. It can help. And I was saying, ideally, if we are not pulling rank, you would get those details from lecturers in casual conversation. But because we are not doing that enough, then unfortunately you can't get that. But like for me, my advisors, I would hear them saying, oh, so and so, haha, you wrote this when this and this was happening, the gossip I was telling you about. Then you're like, oh, that's why he wrote this and that and that. So look for lectures, podcasts about the people who wrote or the ideas they're writing about, and that would help you to read better. That's why I was saying, you know, get used to audiovisual materials, documentaries. Those are where you can find, especially of the big ideas, those are where you can find information on that. And now a lot of professors are doing documentaries, or they are being interviewed in documentaries. So you just look them up and see if they've talked about the same thing. So the background of the writer, yes, the background of the writer helps, but in academic work, not so much, not in terms of getting married and children and where they lived, but in terms of their professional career. And if the academic is still living, you can look for them up which university they're at, look at the kinds of articles they've done, check on YouTube if they've done a lecture, or if they've written newspaper articles, because academics do that. That helps you understand what they're writing about. The point of me giving you those articles was for you to see that the academy is not heaven, that academics write things that are influenced by their backgrounds, that the academy is about power also, as you all already know, and that influences the way certain knowledge is produced. But the other thing I wanted to also mention is that the academy right now is dominated by the Anglo-American Empire. So there are a number of practices that are being contested, like citations. How do you cite? What is published? What is acceptable? And Africans talk about this a lot in their work. And I'll talk about more about that next week. So I think what I wanted to do today was to demystify academic writing, and also encourage you to start small by, you people have so many resources. You can be able to, it's easier to get introduced into academic reading. And why I chose these articles that I've given you was because, like I said, it was written in a less formal language. It's about a proper fight, a fight over employment, who teaches in the academy and how is it decided. So hopefully, if you haven't started reading, the point is to demystify, because once you demystify academic work, then you're able to read. It's easier to read, and don't feel intimidated because the language is hard. They are talking about things you've never heard of. You have to start somewhere, and this class is where you start. So that's what I wanted to say. Like now I've been reading Imbuga a little bit more because I'm teaching the book. Some of the things I'm reading, I'm like, why was this such a threat to the government? I don't understand. But I have older friends in the academy, some who are retired, so I call them up. I call people up, by the way. Even in Buga, the other day, I called my friend at Masai Mara and asked him, by the way, what is this play really about? You know, I asked him about the politics of writing and the politics of curriculum, and he explained to me. And ideally, a university should have more of those conversations in open forum so that you people can hear us, you know, joking, criticizing, fighting, so that you can see, yeah, this thing is not so serious. We sound serious, but it's just a human enterprise like any other. Unfortunately, this COVID, we've also become very hung up. One of the things, I'm sorry to say, one damage that Matiang'i did was to elevate academics to this hallowed status. So he was telling us you must publish or you can't graduate. Oh, we must have quality. Then commission is told to crack the whip and inspectors come. So what it did was that it created this halo around the academy, like we are so special and whatever. And it just made the academy even more alienated from the public, unfortunately. So yeah, we're just human beings. And the other thing I wanted to say, if you don't understand an article, don't cheat yourself. You don't understand, it's okay. Call somebody, call your advisor, call whoever and say, I don't get what this article is about. Or like I was saying, start reading groups. You decide, we are 5 people in development communication. We've been told we must read this article. Let's read and discuss together. So don't try to pretend that you know. There's no, me, when I tell people I don't know, they get surprised because, you know, because I'm so vocal, they think I'm proud. Me, I just say I don't know. I don't know what that's about. It's not in my experience, it's not in my field, so I wouldn't know. And that's how you start. So don't, and then the other thing is, there are some people who write deliberately hard. What? There's another lady called Spivak, and don't quote me. When she writes, you're just like, what the heck is this? Sorry, what the heaven is this? So I remember I used to struggle to understand her. Then one day, my friend Pius Adesami, who left us, he met me coming from the library, and then he said, "Hiya, you're reading Spivak. Good luck with that." That was the end. I took the book back because, you know, I had been dreading reading her because I knew I was not going to understand. So when he said that, and that time he was my lecturer, I just said, okay. I think I still took the book. I did 1-2 pages. Then I just said, this woman wasn't writing for me to understand. So I took it back. And usually what I've discovered, but this is just now my own sense, I've discovered that when people use very extremely difficult languages because they are evading being direct, because they are talking about something and they don't want to be held to account. It's typical, which is not different from politicians. When you hear politicians using big words and not getting to the point, so you know that they just don't want to they don't want to say something controversial. Works in the academy the same way. I don't agree with a lot of things that happen in the academy. And I think the academy has elevated itself so high, scared people into thinking that knowledge is this status symbol. And so, you know, when students approach studies, they're approaching it in terms of, have I done the right thing? You know, am I going to graduate? And then what happens, like I said, is that the big questions which Kenyan people who have been to university should be talking about, they're just left. And then nursery teachers walk in and tell us how to teach our kids. My idea is first to deconstruct the academy, that it is an institution of power that you can challenge, but also that knowledge we need people to do the knowledge seeking. We need people to think, and we need people to publish and write. And if our students are busy thinking about, will I graduate? Is this what Mwalimu wants? There's so much that needs to be done in terms of knowledge that we are not doing. And in fact, that scares me. It completely scares me. Because, you know, like the other day, I was reading I was listening to a lecture by Walter Rodney, and he was talking about, you know, like ministers, African ministers going abroad, and they're told, we would like to dump nuclear waste in your country, and they do it. And who is supposed to know what this nuclear waste is? It's us. So now when people are concentrating on, do I finish, doing papers, doing graduation, I'm just like, gosh, do you know people are being poisoned because people in the academy are saying nothing? That just, gosh. Hey. And me, I've seen so many experiments being done like that. Like now what I was talking about, the ones that were done in Western Kenya, where were the academics to say, this is wrong, you're doing wrong to our people? So me, what I'm hoping is that out of this class will come those people. Not the people who will go to parliament to fight for rights and activists, the people who, when they read a document, they can see through the BS. That's what I want from academics. I don't even want Hakietu and going to the streets. There's people who are saying, no, don't do this. This is wrong. You're hiding behind Kizungu Mingi, but what is really happening is that you're taking our resources. Those are the academics we need. That you're making what Michelle Mogo was doing, you're making certain arguments and you're making it sound objective when actually it's a racist argument. Who are the Kenyans who will do that? They have to come from this class. That's what I think. They have to come from anyone who is being taught by Dr. Andia. They have to do that work in the name of all our ancestors. You just have to do the work. So that's why I was saying the first week, I'm sorry, you know, maybe 2 years is not when you're going to finish, but write something that you will be proud of, that 40 years from now, when your child is a master's student going to the Library of Data to look for your work, they can say, this is good work. This is what she was writing about. This is what he was saying. And we don't need to do big things. It's the small ones. It's the small ones that count.